Hello again, everyone. This is the KMN 1971. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all, and welcome to a very special year-end edition of the Comic Book Haul. This is essentially going to be a greatest hits of my top 52 pickups of that I've acquired over the year 2017. I figured there's 52 weeks in the year, so why not snag my top 52 pickups as a nice little sample size to summarize the year of collecting. And it was a pretty good year of collecting for me. Snagged a lot of nice Bronze Age and Silver Age keys off my list, as well as one Grail. So, yeah, pretty cool. Kicking it off, Harley Quinn, number 33. I figured this would be a nice timely cover to show off. And yeah, aside from this will be the only new book that you'll see in this haul. This is essentially just going to be the greatest hits. So, hope you like it. Kicking it off. Oh, and I should also say this is going to be broken up between two videos. I didn't want this to run too long, and I realized today is going to be a little hectic for everyone out there, so I want to try to make this short and sweet. So, kicking it off, Dark Horse presents 50th anniversary special, which features the first appearance of Sin City. A nice little modern age first appearance that I did not have. Giant-sized creatures featuring Werewolf by Night, the first appearance of Tigra. Giant-sized Chillers #1, featuring the Curse of Dracula, and it also features the first appearance of Dracula's daughter, Lilith. Anyone that's been a viewer of my channel over the past year or so knows that I have a very big place in my heart reserved for Marvel Bronze Age horror comics. Amazing Spider-Man #134, which features an early cameo appearance of the Punisher. This is his appearance that's sandwiched in between his first appearance and his second full appearance. So happy to pick this up in near mint condition for like $20 out in the wild. One of several upgrades that I picked up this year, Avengers King Size Annual #10, which features the first appearance of Rogue. Being a big time X geek, it's a must have for me anyway. Reborn #1, the Todd McFarlane variant cover. And Todd McFarlane is one of my top 5 favorite artists of all time. Mark Millar is definitely one of my top 10 favorite modern writers. And this is one of my favorite stories from him. So this is one of his properties that I would love to see on Netflix at some point in the future. The Man Called Nova #1, also an upgrade. First appearance of Nova, Richard Rider. Worst secret identity ever. Shazam #1, classic example of, from my childhood, the dealers at my LCS would tell me that this book would not be worth anything because there were so many copies printed. So, and in most cases they would be right, but there are cases, as you know. I mean, this isn't a book that you could retire on by any means, but it's definitely not a dollar bin book or even just like a regular long box book either. This is usually a wall book in everyone's store nowadays. So, Shazam #1, Star Wars #1, New Mutants '98, Amazing Spider-Man #300, all prime examples of books that have very high print runs, but there's still demand out there for them. So I just thought that was fun. The Demon #1, first appearance of the Demon, Jack Kirby goodness. Supergirl #1. This was the first time that I ever ran into this book out in the wild, was this year. And this is another book that's probably near mint minus to very fine plus plus shape. Picked it up for $10. Super clean copy. Very happy about it. Especially, those kind of books, especially when you're not actually looking for them and they just pop up. So, Miracle Man #15, another book that I was so happy to finally acquire this year. This had been on my want list dating back to the 1980s. Yes, that long. This is one of my top 10 favorite runs of all time. And this was a hole in that run for years. But I guess after Marvel started reprinting the Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman run, it ended up dropping the value. At least that's what I'm assuming, of the original run. So I ended up picking this up for, I don't know, somewhere maybe $45 to $50, which what this book was going for well over 20 years of me collecting, that's a good deal. I'm sure someone else has found this in a dollar bin somewhere, but I was super, super happy to complete this run. Finally. Another book that I wasn't necessarily looking for, but it was there. Venom Lethal Protector #1 Newsstand Edition, which goes nicely with Amazing Spider-Man #361, also the Newsstand Edition. A little bit of a miswrap right there, but I can live with it. So now I have newsstand editions of Lethal Protector, the first appearance of Carnage, and Amazing Spider-Man 300, the first appearance of Venom. So all that I think I'm lacking now is that a Venom Lethal Protector gold cover. And then I can be complete. Yeah, right. Batman #253. Another Batman Bronze Age classic, in my opinion. This is the first time that the Batman ever crossed over with the Shadow. So, being a Batman fan, that was on my must-have list. Batgirl Adventures #1. Picked this up earlier in the beginning of this year, I want to say for around $20, which was a good deal back then. And this book saw a bit of an uptick after the Joss Whedon Batgirl movie rumors started to circulate. But this had been on my Harley list for over a year, so I was happy to pick it up before that hype kicked in. Once in a while, you actually get lucky. Another accomplishment from this year was I managed to knock off a couple of the Amazing Spider-Mans from the Bronze Age that have been loitering on my list for a while, and this was definitely one of them. Another great pickup. I want to say very fine plus condition. Amazing Spider-Man, or to maybe even near mint minus. This was all like a lot of these Spider-Mans came from the same collection, and this guy really took care of his books. So, Amazing Spider-Man 136. And this is the first appearance of the second Green Goblin when Harry Osborn resumed the mantle of the Green Goblin from his father, who was deceased at the time. So, very cool to have. Very important book, in my opinion, in Spider-Man history. So, I was happy to pick it up. Alright, these next two you have to kind of show together. Amazing Spider-Man #119, as well as Amazing Spider-Man #120. I've stated numerous times in numerous videos that I am a fan of Versus Comics. That's just my inner 12-year-old. And, this is, as far as Versus Comics goes, this is one of, in my opinion, one of the best ones. Spider-Man versus the Incredible Hulk, their classic Bronze Age confrontation two-parter, which ends up segueing eventually into the death of Gwen Stacy. But that's for another video, actually. But these had been on my list for a while. I had actually read these in some kind of reprint form when I was a little kid, or maybe it was a Treasury size edition. I don't know. But this was a childhood favorite Spider-Man story, classic Spider-Man story, and these books are all over the place in price. That at one LCS, that both of these books were on the wall for over $100. So, and for high grades like these, they usually go for a premium. I ended up getting lucky in an auction, and I ended up getting both of these for around, I want to say, like $35 a piece, which is a steal. You can also get like lower grade copies. I want to say around the maybe $20 range. So, but these are must-haves for me, and very happy to able to acquire them this year. Adventure into Fear with the Man-Thing, number 19. But this is features the first appearance of Howard the Duck. Alright, from here on out, it is Silver Age. And kind of like with that Spider-Man Hulk two-parter, you kind of have to show these two off together at the same time. This is the two-part origin of Galactus. Thor number 168 and Thor number 169. Done in all its glory by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. As I said earlier in the video, this is this year, and well, last year was when I first started to dip my toe in the Silver Age waters. But this year, I really wanted to spread out and pick up some classic Premiere issues, some classic Batman and Teen Titans, Fantastic Four, overall classic Marvel. So, yeah, so this was definitely a step in the right direction. So, Thor 168, 169, must-haves for anyone that likes comics. I also concentrated on some of the Stan Lee, Jack Kirby Fantastic Four run. If you're going to concentrate on a classic run from the Silver Age, I can't think of one that's much better than that. So, here are just a couple of the highlights of some of the Silver Age books that I picked up. So here's Fantastic Four number 72, which features my all-time favorite Jack Kirby Silver Surfer cover. Look at all that glorious crackle going on in the background. That's awesome. Also picked up number 73, which sweet condition for a book this old. It's still not maybe like bone white, I guess, but this is still pretty white. And great Versus comic, classic. Dude, I thought you were a robot. Who knew? And done by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Cannot go wrong there. Let's get this out of the way. Fantastic Four King Size Special number 5, and this has so much good stuff going on in here. Guest starring the Inhumans, the Black Panther, done by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, as well as the very first Silver Surfer solo story. And I want to say this is also the first appearance of the Molecule Man, which to a lesser extent than those other examples, but a lot of good stuff going on in this book. Pick this up for $20. Fantastic Four King Size Special number 6, and this is another book that I think just has a lot of potential going for it. For one, it's a classic Stan Lee Jack Kirby Fantastic Four annual from the Silver Age. Features the first appearance of Franklin Richards and the first appearance of Annihilus, who I think would be a great big screen villain, especially since the whole Fox Disney mergers happened, and it's pretty much a done deal unless the government steps in. But wow, can you imagine Annihilus in the Negative Zone? If you want to build the Fantastic Four around a villain, that would be the way to go. He doesn't have the like Galactus would be great, but I don't know how they can visually make this big purple giant look cool in a cinematic form. The same thing with Doctor Doom. How do you get around calling someone Doctor Doom without it being kind of funny? But at least with Annihilus, you could have like special effects. You could have the space, Space Odyssey, Negative Zone, the whole Insect Kingdom thing. I've been a fan. I've been a fan of Annihilus since Annihilation back in the early Ognaughts. So I see a lot of potential with this character. And this book has seen a slight uptick because of the rumors of the Fantastic Four reboot focusing in on Franklin and his sister. So, as I said, there's a lot of... That's my spec on this book anyway. So I see a lot of potential for this book. Fantastic Four King Size Special number 6. And I will end it off with a couple of nice Silver Age Batman books that I picked up. book just from last week's haul, Batman number 197. Extremely sweet grade for a Silver Age book. And this features the first time that Barbara Gordon as Batgirl appeared in the regular ongoing Batman title. And also, allegedly, the fourth Silver Age appearance of the Catwoman. So, that's a nice little Bat geektoid fact that I really liked. So, nice. And finally, Detective Comics number 373, featuring the second overall appearance of Mr. Freeze. And but this was the first time that he was actually referred to as Mr. Freeze. He had another name in his first appearance, maybe Mr. Zero or whatever. But another book that I wasn't necessarily looking for, but I stumbled upon out in the wild, and really high grade, Silver Age, Batman. Cool. I kind of thought it was the first appearance of Mr. Freeze. I was mistaken, but still very happy to pick this up. So that's all I have for this week. I will be back next week with my top 25 picks, the state of my pull list, and just whatever other musings I have about the overall comic book industry and hobby. So thank you all for watching, liking, subscribing, and supporting me throughout this past year. It's a great community to be a part of. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, take care, see ya.